Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. So my name is Al, and today I'm going to show you how to make potato bread from scratch. Now, potato bread is a staple of barbecue, particularly Texas barbecue, but annoyingly you can't get it in England for love nor money, even though it originated in Ireland. I was recently at a pro smoke barbecue event and had the absolute privilege to meet Evan Leroy from Leroy and Lewis, which is a top 50 barbecue joint, Chud from Chud's Barbecue, and Dave from Wilson's Barbecue. I'll put a video up about that shortly, but it was a really great day. Throughout the day they served loads of amazing food, and one thing that they served with confit and smoked beef cheeks, and they served that on some potato bread with like a tomato sort of sauce on it, and it was absolutely amazing. I loved it. So I thought I would share with you how you make potato bread. So potato bread is almost like a brioche in terms of its texture and flavour, but it's not as sweet. So it's a perfect bread for burger rolls or just to make a loaf of bread, and you can just have some butter on it and it'd be amazing. But when you're having barbecue, it really helps to offset the richness of the meat, and it just works perfectly. So today I'm going to show you all the steps to make it from scratch. So I've got a stand mixer. You don't necessarily need one of these. You can knead the dough totally by hand, that's not a problem, but this just makes life a little bit easier and it's a little bit quicker. So I'm going to take you through the ingredients that you need, and the nice thing about potato bread is that there aren't actually a lot of ingredients. So before we start adding the ingredients, I kind of want to give you two tips. The first is in regards to the flour and the yeast. Try to make sure that you're using both that are fresh, and what I mean by that is that the first time I tried to use these, I'd had some bread flour that had been in the cupboard for about 2 years and some yeast probably that had been there just as long. And what I didn't realise is that after say like 9 months, both of these are going to lose their ability. So the yeast won't be as effective, it won't be as, creating all those air bubbles, the nitrogen or whatever it is creates as part of the fermentation process that gives your bread that rise and that beautiful crumb inside. And the flour, we're going to leave some of its protein, some of its elasticity that it creates. So really, in terms of these two, for less than a fiver, you can go and buy it brand new, and if you get into it and you really start enjoying making bread, you're going to make it so regularly that it's actually going to be used up before it gets to that date. And the second tip I want to give you is in regards to liquid. So the way I follow a recipe is that I will follow it to the letter. I literally put in everything as you're meant to do it. And what I was finding is that when I tried to make bread, my dough was coming out really sticky and just unworkable. I just couldn't actually work it, couldn't knead it, and it just failed every time, and it really put me off making bread. But then when I researched it to say, why am I getting sticky dough, what is the problem, what am I doing wrong, when I researched it, basically the information I was able to glean is that all flours are different, and therefore the liquids are more of a guide. So in this particular recipe we're using 140 milliliters of warm milk, but when you're initially adding that milk, I'm only going to add 100. So I'm going to add 100 ml straight off, and then as the dough mixes, and I'll show you that when we mix it, but as it mixes I'm going to add a little bit more milk bit by bit until it reaches the consistency that I think it needs. If I had to pour the whole 140 straight in, more likely my dough would come out sticky and it just wouldn't work. So that's my second tip. Don't add liquid in straight away, do 3/4 of it and then add the rest as and when you need it. And like with this recipe, you'll see we'll probably end up with about 10 ml of milk that we don't need. So yeah, that's my tips. Right, so let's get on, let's add these ingredients in and I'll show you how to make the dough. So the first thing I would say is that try to get yourself a nice accurate set of scales, because in baking measuring out things right is really important. But I'll talk you through everything that you will need. So in a bowl I've got 25 grams of sugar, 7 grams of just normal salt, mashed potatoes. So this is just potato I've boiled and mashed up, not added anything else to it, but this is literally just as plain and simple as it comes. But this is going to replace some of the starch and give us that colour and flavour that we're looking for. So it's 140 grams, we'll put that in. Then I've got 1 large egg, and that's a whole egg, so you've got the white and the yolk, that goes in. Then I've got 7 grams of fast acting yeast. Now each of these sachets is measured out for you, and each one is 7 grams, so we're going to hold that in. Then I've got 40 grams of butter, which I've just microwaved for like 20 seconds and melted that in, just helps incorporate it a lot easier. And then I've got 140 grams of milk, so I'm going to add about 100 grams of milk. Okay, so keeping back a bit, and then with a whisk I'm just going to mix that around a little bit, try and get a little bit incorporated first. Okay, so that looks good. Then I've got 390 grams of flour. In terms of the flour, you want one that's got a high protein value. So this has got 12.5% in it, and what that means is that you'll get a really nice strong dough. You get lots of gluten in there and lots of like elasticity, and that will give you a good crumb, which is basically what the internal part of a bread is called. So I'm going to add all this flour in, and then I'm just going to give it a little bit of a mix, just so that when I put it in the mixer it doesn't do a huge puff of flour when it starts going. And that's it. So you will need a what's called a dough hook, and this fits in so obviously the bread mixer. Put it down, lower that. Okay, and then we're going to do that. So rather than you watch this for 7 minutes, I'll put it on time lapse, but I wanted to show you the process that the dough goes through. Really the bit I want to show you what it looks like when it's done, and when you know you should be taking it out. But basically what you kind of wanting to look for is that you can stretch the dough, it's not ripping, you've got good elasticity in there. So I've got myself a glass chopping board. I don't actually chop on it, because just naturally nice, but for bread and things like that it's really good. I'm just going to put a little bit of flour down, not a lot, just move that about a bit. Gloves. So let's turn this out. So there's not really a huge amount to do on this. All I'm going to do is shape it a bit more, turn it in and kind of like pinch itself a little bit, but that's it. That's all we're going to do for this time being. So now I'm going to put this into my homemade bread proofer. Now if you want to learn how to make one of these yourself, check out the card that I'll put up in the top. It was really simple, really cheap, and actually it's really helpful when you make it any sort of bread. So let me grab it. So a bread proofer is essentially just like a heated box, and it helps the bread rise, helps that yeast and that fermentation process. And basically what we're looking to do is for this dough to at least double in size. So I've got a cheap plastic bowl. I'm going to put a little bit of flour in there, and then just mix that around. Just helps the bread not to stick when it's raising. I like to chuck it myself and then brush myself off with a dirty hand. It is what it is. Right, so we're going to get our bread, going to put it slap bang in the middle of that, put that in our bread proofer, lid on. Now I'm going to turn this on, and I'm going to put it to a temperature of 27 degrees, and then we'll just wait for that to come up to temperature. And what the purpose of that is that it just not only helps fermentation, but actually speeds it up. It works really well. I made this, I've done a video on it, so if you want to go and check it out, like I say, I'll show you how to make it. I made this for £20, it's all in, and if you look to buy them online they're like 100 quid. So I'm going to leave this in here for about an hour. Most importantly though, it will double in size, and then I'll bring it back and show you what to do next. Now if you're enjoying this video, please subscribe to the channel. It's free, it truly means a lot to me, and then you won't miss any of my future videos. Okay, so it's been about an hour now, but the most important thing is that the dough has doubled in size. So if I quickly show you that, there you go. I mean, look at that. Perfect, that just looks really good. And then you see it's doubled in size, it smells really yeasty, so you've got that beautiful smell. But now we're going to turn it out, and we're going to basically knock it back and kind of like fold it in on itself, and then basically we're going to do a second rise but in the loaf tin. So this is a normal standard size loaf tin, and as you can see inside I've buttered it really well. That's to stop it sticking. Basically I need to turn this out again. I'm using my glass cutting board, a little bit of flour on there, not too much. I don't want to add too much flour in it. And basically I just need to turn this out, and you can see how easily that came out. What we're going to do is turn the bottom side up, going to knock it back a bit, and then with a rolling pin we're going to make it into a rectangle, because that's the size of my tin, so that's roughly how big I want it. And I'm just going to try and knock this back into, I say, a rectangle, and put it like that, so it's pretty nice and square. And then basically what we're going to do is fold it in on itself, so roll it up and then you pinch that part back into the dough, roll it up again, pinch that part in, and again pinch that part in. And then when you do the final roll and you've got that seam on the top, then you kind of want to pinch that together as much as possible, like that. I mean, look at that. Then we're going to get our tin, and that seam goes down in the bottom. And now I'm going to put this back in the proofer. Again, I want it to double in size. Now it could take an hour, it could take 45 minutes, it could take a bit longer than that. The most important thing that you're going to look for is a doubled inside. That's what we're after. However long it takes is fine. Obviously if it took 3 hours, a bit of a problem there. Most likely your yeast is old. But in terms of this, I'm going to put this back in and we'll check back in about an hour. So it's been another hour, and as you can see, and this is the beauty of trying to make this actual indoor thing yourself, you can actually clearly see it's doubled inside. But to really show you, I'll get it out. And you can see that is exactly what we're looking for. That looks amazing. So about 20 minutes ago I turned the oven on indoors. I put it to 175 centigrade or 350 Fahrenheit. I'm going to put this on the baking tray and it's going to go straight in the middle of the oven. It's going to take about 30-35 minutes to cook, and what you're going to be looking for is a really nice brown, deep sort of brown colour on the outside, and you'll be able to smell it and it will smell amazing. So I'm going to quickly go and put that in the oven, and then I'll come back in a half hour when it's cooked, turn it out and we'll have a look, see how we did. So here we are 35 minutes later, and look at this bread. It looks absolutely beautiful. Smells amazing. Got a beautiful crust net, but it's still hot, so while it is still warm, just going to turn it out. Shook them out nice and easily. And then while it's still warm, we've got some melted butter, and we're just going to brush this all over. I mean, look at that sheen. I mean, everything is better with butter. There's no two ways about it. So just brush this all over. Don't forget the sides. So I'm going to wait about 10 minutes, wait for it to cool down a little bit, and then we're going to slice it, and I'm going to show you just how beautiful this potato bread is. It's been about 10 minutes. It's cooled down enough for me to slice it. Maybe could leave it a little bit longer, but smells amazing. I'm dying to show you just how well this turned out. So cut a nice thick slice. Oh yeah, look at that. Now look at that. You've got all that beautiful crust around the outside. Inside is beautiful, soft and fluffy. Smells amazing. There's nothing better than warm bread, and warm potato bread is right up there in terms of smells. That's amazing. So let's cut another bit. There's only one thing left to do, and this is try it. The texture, it's got a nice bit of bounce. It's soft. Oh, let's just try it. So even though it's got nothing on it, it's really soft. It's got a buttery flavour on it, beautiful texture in the mouth, nice and firm, so it can take, like putting barbecue and everything on it, or you can just have it with butter, or even on its own. It is that good. So thanks for watching, guys. Please check out my other video, particularly the one on a bruschetta. So this is an alternative to brisket, and it is blowing everyone away. It is truly amazing. So please go and check that video out. Also, don't forget to check out the video where I show you how to make your bread proof in box. Really nice and simple, really cheap, and it's just game changing when it comes to baking. But until the next video, take care of yourselves. I'll see you all soon. Don't forget to smash that subscribe button. Cheers.